welcome back to Demigod Debut. I'm Mal, longtime Percy Jackson fan who is too tired to come up with a quippy intro this time.
And I'm Julie, #1 Tyson defender.
And this is a podcast about Julie reading Battle of the Labyrinth for the first time. And today we are joined by a very special guest and a fellow survivor of redacted high school. This is my friend Bree.
Hi.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so glad to have you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your Demigod debut, like how your history with Percy Jackson, how you got into the books?
Yeah, I read the first Percy Jackson book, I think, when I was in 4th grade. I saw the book, it said The Lightning Thief. I was like, oh, how did you do that? That's interesting. And I didn't know that there was more books until I was in 6th grade. So I was just like carrying around The Lightning Thief and being like, this is the best book ever. I wish they'd make more. Finally, I reread it and I had done a project on The Lightning Thief. And I went to go to the library and I saw the other ones. And I was like, oh, I'm about to eat. And so I went through all of them, experienced every range of the human emotive spectrum. And it kind of just changed my life. I was like, this is the best. I didn't know that books could be this funny and inventive and action filled. And it was so cool. And it just made me a complete nerd about Greek mythology and about children's literature and all of that. And I've been a huge fan. And last winter, I actually reread all the books. The show coming out, I decided I was going to reread them all. Just as good. Still good, still solid.
Yes, I feel the same. Like we've been working our way through for this podcast and I'm like, it still hits. It still hits. Also, just because I'm curious, I want to know how it came about that our mutual friend was texting me saying that you wanted to come on this podcast. It's like, how did this topic of conversation come up?
We were probably talking about high school, as we do, and I think I said I had seen one of your TikToks and it made me laugh. I think it was you throwing a book into the ocean.
Oh, God.
It made me laugh. And I brought it up, and our friend had said, Mallory wants me to be a guest on her podcast. And I had been like, well, if she needs someone to talk about Percy Jackson with, look no further. I take Percy Jackson as seriously as my own life. And I guess when you say something like that, it could be construed as I need to be on this podcast. So he was like, let me just figure it out. And he told me that day, I told Mallory what you said. I was like, no, what if she feels pressured? Don't.
No, I did not feel pressured. And I'm just honestly excited for anyone who wants to come talk with us. Like, it's a great time. We're just here yapping about a children's book on a Monday night.
Exactly. And I, with my 2 roommates, one of them hasn't read any of the books and the other one hasn't read the book since she was a child, like most adults. And so this is also really fun for me as well.
Fantastic. We're so glad to have you here. All right. Julie, are you ready?
Yeah.
You're just folding your laundry.
I have so much laundry. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to fold it. So
Fantastic.
We're multitasking.
Great. I love it. So we have chapters 5 and 6 this week. Let's just get into it. Also, I mean, disclaimer, I did write this yesterday after I ran for 3 hours. So this is either going to be like really, really excellent, like a power came over me because I remember none of this, or it's going to be just like absolute nonsense. And we're about to discover that together. So yay.
Love.
All right. Chapter 5. Nico buys Happy Meals for the dead. So this one kind of starts Percy immediately not having a good time, not getting a good night's sleep before his quest. Now I'm going to ask personal questions about your sleeping habits a little bit because I'm the same way. Like there's anything out of the norm the next day, like whether I'm excited or anxious about it, I'm like 3 hours of sleep max. So I don't know. What about you? Like, are you able to sleep before a big thing?
No, usually because I'm refusing to pack until the very last minute. Because I'm like, I'll do my last load of laundry and I'll do all these things. And so I force myself into a situation where I'm not prepared until the last minute. And so I'm not getting the best amount of sleep. So very rarely do I get good sleep, but very rarely does Percy Jackson. So it's fine.
Very true. How about you, Julie?
I don't know if you know this, Mal, but I don't have very good sleep habits.
What?
Generally.
That's news to me.
So
I lived through you writing your master's thesis.
yeah, stay up all night, go to bed at 7 a.m., wake up at noon. That was grad school, Julie. Yeah, not much has changed, except now I have to do that on a 9-to-5 job. So it's fun.
I don't think I've ever been more stressed about a person's well-being than I was that like 2-week period where you were trying to like cram write that thesis and just like being reminded of it. I got a little stressed.
Listen, I passed, I graduated, and I got the best poli-sci thesis award. So I think it worked. I did not learn my lesson.
And honestly, I wouldn't expect you to. Then also, okay, another question about sleeping, because he kind of has, you know, his weird demigod dreams. Do you ever get like weird anxiety dreams before things? I ask because before the opening weekend of like my most recent softball season, I had a dream that I forgot my cleats and had to play in sandals, and that stuck with me like all season. And so on the way to every game, I was checking my bag at least 3 times to make sure that I had my cleats. So I'm with Percy on the weird dreams.
Well, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always anxious. So it's not just before big events that I have anxiety dreams. They can happen just like that. So, but I've definitely had anxiety dreams where I'm like, this is gonna stay with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way I feel about this Percy dream, because it's intense. First we see Luke with his weird, you know, golden sarcophagus that may or may not contain Kronos, and he looks really perfectly healthy for a guy who we last saw at the bottom of a cliff after being kicked off by Thalia. And Percy says he looks almost too healthy. Somehow Luke and Kronos know about the quest, because in case you forgot, there are spies at camp. Julie, do you have any thoughts on who might be passing information to Luke?
Clarice, I don't trust her. Just kidding. But I still don't trust her, but I know it wouldn't be her. I don't trust was it Quincy? Is that his name?
Quintus?
Quintus, not Quincy. I didn't take notes for this because I actually did work today at work instead of reading. And so I finished last minute. So I'm like, what did I read? What did I read again? Yeah. I don't trust Quintus. It's fishy.
That's fair. However, I feel the need to remind you that there has been a spy since at least the second book.
It's the same spy? It could be multiple spies.
It could be multiple spies, I'm just saying.
It better not be Selena, that's all I'm saying. I love her.
I love her too. She's so cool.
I'll be very disappointed in her.
Yeah, so also in super fun news, Kronos insists that he's gonna lead the invasion into camp himself, so yay for that. They also just need one more person to join their cause so that he can rise fully. Super fun, not at all concerning. Luke is evidently not a fan of whatever this plan is, but Kronos asks to see his sword, and it's his crazy, you know, like 2 metal backbiter guy that's like half steel, half celestial bronze. And he reminds Luke that, like, you wanted power, and I've given you that. He says that Luke is now beyond harm and will soon rule the world of gods and mortals. Again, a great time and absolutely nothing that we should be concerned about. This is also the first time that we learn Luke's last name. So, sorry if I've said it before on this podcast and really
You definitely have.
yeah, I'm like spoiled that big reveal for you. But he's Luke Castellan, which, you know, is a better villain name than just like Luke. Like Luke is just a white guy in a frat. Luke Castellan is a guy who's willing to harm children in his quest to take down the gods. I think, just to me personally.
Love that analysis.
I don't know, you get that like slightly interesting last name. Because it's not like his last name is like Smith. It's like it's an interesting last name.
Yeah, like a Bond villain or something.
Yes. It's a good just villain last name. Also, okay, I have to say, Percy being like, Luke having a last name just like never even occurred to me. Very funny.
He's so dumb sometimes.
He's thoughtless. Nothing going on up there, at least 75% of the time.
Ooh, totally off topic, but I've started getting Percy Jackson tweets on my Twitter timeline. I blame you, Mal. Get this off. I don't want to hear it. I don't want this on here. My Twitter is for aesthetics and politics only. I don't want Percy Jackson bleeding in here. But everybody was arguing over about whether or not how online he would be, I guess. Because people were like, oh, Percy would love the very demure, very mindful thing. And other people were like, he would not know what that means. And so I just wanted to get your guys' take on how online you think Percy would be. Would he have X or Twitter? I can't believe I just called it that. Delete that. Delete that. I don't want people thinking I call it that. That was an accident.
Now it's staying. It's staying.
Would he have TikTok? Would he have Instagram? What would he have anything?
I think he would have social media, but I don't think he'd be good at it. He would be the type to have like 12 followers on X, on Twitter. He would have 12 followers on Twitter, and like his Instagram might blow up because everyone's always like, that is the most gorgeous like boy I've ever seen. Everyone is always so bewitched by his godly looks. So I think if he was posting pictures of himself, he would have, I think, a following. But I don't think he would. He doesn't think of himself like that. So he would probably repost memes from 2002 and he would have TikTok because like if he's 14 now, he would have TikTok. And I think he would say like skibbity. But
No.
I also think he's not. I think it's because the children are always told like you can't have a phone at camp, so they don't feel very online. And Percy is like so funny on his own, like he doesn't need other references. So I don't think he would be online, and I don't think he would know every trend, and I also don't think he would care for the very demure, very mindful.
I feel like, yeah, I can't get past them not being able to have phones. I'm like, no, because he doesn't have a phone, so he wouldn't be online. I feel like if he used social media, he would use it kind of like a dad. Like, I don't know that he would even have like a profile picture on his accounts. And if he did, it like probably wouldn't be of him. And he would probably just be there to like scroll and waste time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't know about trends. He doesn't know.
He's got more important things to worry about.
True.
So many other things to worry about. He just, yeah. I don't feel like, and I also don't think his circle would. Annabeth would probably think this is a time waster.
Yeah.
Like there's no worth. They might be pulled in from TikTok just because of like the dopamine release for their ADHD is like constant like gratification. So they might get sucked into that, but I don't think they just don't read very online to me.
Yeah, and it's hard to be demure and mindful when you have to save the world.
Exactly.
I love that.
What were you thinking, Julie?
Oh, I defer to the experts on that.
Okay. And we vote not online.
Not online.
Okay, back to the dream. We also get the return of Kelly in this dream. She does need to learn that no means no a little bit because she is all over Luke, who is very much not into it. And like, Kelly, you're better than this. Stop throwing yourself at this man. Like, you could seduce and then devour any man you want. Like, get over Luke. He's just a blonde man.
So true.
He's not worth it.
No.
Also, in my head, I'm like, isn't he a baby? Girl, you're 5 million. Back up.
That is true. Yeah, because Luke is,
He should be like 21.
I think he's like, yeah, 21, 22.
Which, like, one, you're too damn old to be doing this, Luke. Get a real job. And two, she can back up a little bit because she is 5 million years old.
Yeah, anytime you've got like mythological beings and teenagers, it gets a little dicey. I mean, not that he's a teenager. I mean, like 21 is an adult, but like
A young adult.
it's also not. Like 21-year-old me had no idea what anything was. I didn't know what I was doing.
Who regularly interacts with 21-year-olds. Yeah, they're all stupid still.
That's fair. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, really all I had to say about Kelly in the dream, that she needs to get over her obsession with Luke. Also just I'm sick of all these girls falling all over Luke. But she does somehow manage to sense that like Percy is there in the dream, and Dream attacks him, which wakes him up. And yet again, upon being confronted with new information, the first thing Percy does is, I need to tell Annabeth. He's like, it's the middle of the night, but like I want to go wake her up and I want to tell Annabeth because I mean, like you said, there's nothing going on up there. Like he's like, I need to find someone smarter than me and I need to tell her what I learned.
He's just so gone for her. It's so funny.
He is. And this is a place in which I think him having a cell phone would be good, because I would love to introduce Percy to the like 2 a.m. voice message, because I often have thoughts that I'm like, I need to share this with someone right now. And when I can send the 2 a.m. voice message to my friends and then they can listen and respond at their leisure, like I feel better because I've gotten it off my chest, but then also they don't have to listen to it if they don't want to. Like if they're like, I can't do this nonsense right now, it's like, it's fine. So I feel like that would be beneficial for him because he could like tell Annabeth and then he could get some sleep.
Give him a tape recorder.
Can't you just go knock? Man, don't piss me off. They're like, oh, camp rules, girl. Who's gonna stop you? The horse? Oh my God, just do what you want.
Go to her.
Go to her. No one's gonna care. I promise.
I feel like Percy could be getting so many more like extra special privileges. I feel like he's earned it, but he's too nice to like take those.
It's not even too nice. I think he's like, he doesn't realize that he should ask. He's like, oh, I just thought like we all got treated the same. And they're like, they should be like, no, well, I mean, when you saved the world 16 times, you're allowed to go talk to your little girlfriend. And then if they said that, actually, if Mr. D was like, go talk to your little girlfriend, he'd be like, she's not my girlfriend. And like, he'd freak out.
She's just my friend.
Get out of my business. But yeah, he needs to just go talk to that girl. Don't piss me off. Oh my God.
Yeah. His desire to just immediately tell all information to Annabeth is so fascinating to me because I feel like, he's got to tell it to her so that then he can decide what he thinks about it. Not because like he can't form his own opinions, because he can, but I feel like he just needs her to provide the little bit of like extra information that he doesn't know. So then that way he can decide how he feels about it. So like he might not feel the same way that she does, but he's like, I need to talk to someone who's smarter than me.
Second pair of eyes.
Yeah. And I think it's also like he sees Annabeth as like kind of like a sounding board. Like he's like, who's the one person in this world who's gonna understand my position and my choices? It's gonna be her. It's not gonna be Grover and it's not gonna be my mom. Like, and Chiron's cryptic as fuck. So I need to talk to one girl who understands me and sees me. So I could be like, these are the dreams I'm having, and these are my thoughts. Now, you knowing everything about everything, tell me what you think, and then I'm gonna say this is what I feel like I should do, and you can tell me. Like they're just great at like knowing each other, and that's why they fight so well together.
I saw a Tumblr post one time that is like stuck with me, and it was like Percy and Annabeth build on each other like an improv skit. I feel like that's correct.
Yes, for all those listeners, I'm nodding sagely.
Just, fellow high school theater survivor here. Anyway, Percy does not go wake up Annabeth. Boo. Because he notices that his fountain is glowing again, but he doesn't have to pay this time for the iris message. He's just like, show me Nico. And then it's Nico. And he's in a graveyard and wearing a cloak, watching some grave diggers. Like, we're really leaning into the Son of Hades thing here, and I love it. He's also kind of seeming to be growing into his powers a whole lot more. Not that we saw a whole lot of them before this, but he's got like skeletons that are doing his bidding and he's summoning all these ghosts. Like, hell yeah, Nico, go off.
My emo king. My God. I was a Percy Jackson little Kenny, and then I met Nico D'Angelo, and that changed everything. I was like, oh my God, an 11-year-old emo. He sees me, another 11-year-old emo. This is representation for me. Like, I love Percy. Percy's my favorite character, but when Nico came on the scene, it became a very tight race. Okay, I was like, this guy's funny, but this one's depressed and wears all black. And I don't know, there's something about him. There's something about him.
I love it.
And honestly, that's fair. I have always felt more drawn to Annabeth, but I'm just, former gifted kid who did not live up to their potential. Oh, look, it's me.
I thought Annabeth was cool because I also saw myself as like, I'm the smart girl. But Percy was so damn funny. I was like, oh my God, like, ew. Like I had such a big crush on him at 12 that he skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm an Annabeth because I see Percy and I go, that dumbass, what is he doing after this?
That's real. Honestly, Percy is kind of the ideal man, when you are also in Percy's kind of age range reading these books, you're like, hey, this guy rocks. I love him.
There was a Tumblr text post I liked when Purse Sassy was a thing.
God.
And it was like, he asked me what the Spanish word for tortilla was, and I dreamt of kissing him in the moonlight. She's real.
That's good. I like that. All right, so Nico is summoning the dead with McDonald's Happy Meals and Coke. It's just interesting the way that the ghost is like, back in my day, we just used animal blood. The ghost can't tell the difference. As if it would be easier to get animal blood. Like, where does he think that this 10-year-old is going to get a bunch of animal blood? Because, like, when kids start killing animals, that's a red flag.
Yeah, huge red flag, I'd say.
Like, I feel like whenever there's some kid who's, like, done something messed up, they're like, oh, yeah, in elementary school, he was, like, strangling birds, So...
Nico, you could be emo, but you cannot kill animals. That's where we draw the line.
We draw the line at animal cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really... I mean, I've never summoned ghosts using a ritual, but if I was imagining it, I would imagine it would go somewhere like this. Like, just... There's chanting, there's weird bubbling, there's ghosts. Nico also reveals that he's got this cool new black sword Excellent. And then the first ghost they talk to is freaking Theseus, which is so wild. And they're, talking about trying to bring back Bianca. And Theseus says, like, he tried to bring back his stepfather, but he couldn't. And Nico asks if the labyrinth could help him get his sister back. And Theseus says that the only reason he got through the labyrinth is because the princess guided him and the string was only part of the answer. And then, like, things immediately go downhill. Theseus tells Nico he needs to release all the ghosts because he has sensed Nico's power and will be coming to find the source of it. And then it gets all glowy, and Percy, like, takes his sword to the fountain to make it stop. And then he just sits there until Tyson finds him in the morning. Just, as glad as I am for the Nico updates, I'm like, this should not be on Percy. This 11-year-old's well-being should not be on this 14-year-old.
Maybe if you told someone about him being the son of Hades,
He was trying
they could
to
help.
protect him.
Okay, true.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right. This is kind of a situation in which we needed to get probably an adult involved. So, after all that, they meet up to go on their quest. And, Percy is a lot stronger than I am, because if I walked up to a group and immediately the girl that I liked was like, oh, you look terrible, I think I would die just on the spot.
Low-key used to that shit, though, because
Yeah.
she's always like, Percy, you look like shit. Percy, you're stupid. Percy, you're dumb. I bet he's like, oh, man.
He's like, this is just a typical Annabeth greeting.
Typical. Oh, isn't she so dreamy?
She's like, Percy, you look like crap, and he's just like, hard eyes. And then, okay, when Percy is listing the things that he is bringing on this quest, he does not mention, like, personal hygiene items like a toothbrush or deodorant. And so I was just thinking, these children have to be so stinky, and they're gonna get cavities. Like, does ambrosia work on your teeth? Like, can that
I bet.
fix your like, do they go to the dentist?
No.
Because, like, every camp experience that I've ever had, like, either as a camper or as a camp counselor, there is always a kid or kids that you have to, like, force to take a shower and to brush their teeth. So camp just seems like it would be stinky.
I know it smells crazy over there. Oh my god, the Hephaestus cabin? I'm sorry, no hate, no shade, but I know it smells crazy in there. Everybody's with metal and fire. I know those children are not washing off.
Yeah, the only cabin that I feel like probably smells good is the Aphrodite cabin.
Yeah, I was about to say. They probably smell the best, and then honestly, Hephaestus and Aries probably smell the worst.
Yeah.
Hephaestus, I don't think they try to help it because they know they're really covered in dirt. Aries, they don't care. Those rough and tumble children, I know they don't care.
And now Julie hates Clarice even more because now she's thinking about how she's stinky.
Hell no. If you're gonna be mean, you have to smell nice. Those are the rules.
Yeah. Okay, also I did go through and I looked back at, like, what Percy said he brought on the previous 3 quests. And so in the Lightning Thief, he does mention bringing a toothbrush and a change of clothes. And then in the duffel bags they get from Hermes, it mentions that there are toiletries in there. So, like, that could be anything, but I would imagine that it's, like, a toothbrush, deodorant, like the essentials. Then in the Titan's Curse, he brings literally nothing but Annabeth's hat and his sword. So good thing that one was in the winter, because I know a 14-year-old boy with no deodorant in the summer heat. No wonder the hunters did not want to travel with him, is all I'm saying.
They're correct.
The fact that their quest is we're going to go down into these deep caverns that are over thousands of years old with no deodorant, no toothbrushes. But maybe after a certain point, it all just started smelling the same.
You do get nose blind after like 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, what smells worse, them or the tunnels?
There's dead people down there.
It's true.
Yeah, there's dead people and there's monsters. And monsters, don't they smell like poo-poo caca? Like they smell horrible?
I mean, at least to Grover and Tyson, they can smell them. Yeah, so honestly, the quest probably smells worse than they do, so... Okay, so kind of before they leave, Percy asks if he can talk to Chiron about his little dream, and Chiron reveals that he and Annabeth think that, like, Luke's army might be after Daedalus to make Kronos a new body for when he rises, and Percy thinks about how they need one more soul to join them, and thinks about telling Chiron about Nico, but then decides against it, and is like, I'm gonna find Nico myself. And we're not gonna comment further on that. They also talk a little bit about Quintus. Percy tells Chiron that Juniper saw him poking around the labyrinth. Chiron seems kind of unfazed with this information, says he's suspicious of Quintus too, but let him stay at camp to keep an eye on him. this hurts me because yeah, sure, we should let people that we're suspicious of be at camp working with kids because that doesn't feel like a recipe for disaster. Like a school would not hire someone that we're suspicious of to be like, yeah, we're going to make sure that this person isn't doing bad things, but then like giving them access to what's supposed to be a safe place for children.
Red flag.
The older I get, the more Chiron's choices just stress me out. Like I would not trust this horse with my children.
And you shouldn't. He's a horse.
That's true. But I mean, like, Blackjack, I might trust Blackjack with a child more than I would trust Chiron, I think.
I love Black.
Yeah, Blackjack's an icon. All right, so then Percy thinks once again about what Luke had said in the dream about spies and like makes eye contact with Quintus, which could mean nothing. And then the four of them descend into the labyrinth. And that's this chapter. Any other thoughts?
I'd just like to point out that he's pouring Coke on the graves because Coke is disgusting and only dead people should drink it.
Oh, hot take.
I hate Coke.
It's not the best soda in the world.
I mean,
But I feel like they use soda a lot. They use Coke a lot to wake the dead in stories. But I can't say for sure certain because it's been a while since I reread.
I'm a Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream truther. It's my favorite.
yeah, if you want to treat the dead right, because Nico's like, I'm giving them McDonald's and Coke because I will treat them with respect. Like, if you want to treat them with respect, bust out a nice crisp Dr. Pepper.
Give him some wine. You know, I think they deserve it after being dead for so long.
Yeah, let the 10-year-old boy get some wine.
Yeah, I'm like, he's 11. Where's he gonna get wine?
That freaky ghost thing could get it for him.
Take him to Total Wine and just let him peruse. Get a nice Pinot Grigio for
Yeah.
the ghost.
Nice Cabernet. You know, the ghosts deserve it, in my opinion.
Okay, so if you were going to be summoned in a ghost summoning ritual, so you are a ghost, what fast food and beverage combo would summon you?
Canes.
Oh, Cane's is a good one.
Give me some canes with a Sprite, and I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna be there.
That's excellent. I feel like mine would vary depending on the day. Either it's gonna sound horrible.
You're gonna say Chick-fil-A, aren't you?
No, I was gonna say a Taco Bell
Oh.
beefy 5-layer burrito
Ooh.
and a Baja Blast. Are you kidding me? I'm here.
A Baja Blast would wake anybody up. That actual ambrosia. That's probably what those nectar squares taste like. My gosh, give me some nachos Bel Grande and a Slurpee, Baja Blast freeze. I'm awake.
Yes.
What do you need me to do?
Julie, what would you be summoned by?
Now, okay, I have a meat one because I miss it, and I have a vegetarian one. So, meat one is the KFC chicken famous bowl, one of those. I love those so much.
Those are so good.
And then meatless version, but it's still kind of meat, is the Impossible Whopper. I love a good Impossible Whopper from Burger King. And then any green smoothie. It's healthy, but I love green smoothie. Like, give it to me. Anything with banana, anything in a green smoothie, I'm there.
Delicious. Also, speaking of KFC, I just noticed like last week that the KFC on the corner by my apartment closed.
No.
I texted my roommates. I was like, "Oh, how long has the KFC been closed?" And one of my roommates was like weeks. So that's how observant I am. I walk by that every day.
But at least that means you're not eating a ton of KFC, so it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, that KFC kind of
Not good.
was sketchy.
Ooh.
Okay, chapter 6.
Let's do it.
Chapter 6 is we meet the god with two faces. So we're lost immediately. Who's surprised? Not me. They somehow enter into a different tunnel than last time, and Annabeth, bless her, is doing her best. She's like, okay, everyone stick to the left wall, but then within 5 minutes, like, we don't know where we are, and we also don't know how to get back anymore. And they end up in a big room with, like, Roman mosaics of the gods, and Annabeth's like, yeah, great, we're on the right track, because, like, Daedalus's workshop is going to be in the oldest part of the maze, and then all of a sudden, it's, like, modern again, and then they're, like, in a wine cellar in someone's basement, and then they're, like, underneath the floor of some bar, and then they find a skeleton of a milkman, which is fun, and Grover and Tyson are smelling lots of monsters. It's a bad time. Just reading this is stressing me out a little bit. Like, underground is not my favorite.
Claustrophobia, like, big time. I did not like this.
I had my own kind of labyrinthian experience the other day. Like, I was in the 59th Street, Lexington Avenue subway station, and it's one of those subway stations that's like multiple levels, and like you get different trains on different levels, but then there's like certain staircases that only that staircase leads to this train. We were wandering in this subway station for probably a good 15 minutes trying to get to the 4 train. Kind of like that one time that we were in the Fulton Street station, Julie, looking for the J train, and we just like never found it and gave up.
Yeah.
That's what this felt like. We had to like go through all these creepy little hallways like between the platforms, and I was like, this is my own personal labyrinth quest, and it was like this book in real life. So based on that 15 minutes thinking about them doing this for like a prolonged period of time, I'm like, I feel for these children.
Hate that. Hate that.
Annabeth's group is her, Percy Jackson, Grover, and Tyson. And like, I just feel so bad for her. There's a moment where she's like, the walls change again, and she makes a decision. And Percy goes, why that way? And she goes, deductive reasoning. And he goes, okay, so you're just guessing? And I wrote down the next line because it made me laugh. And it says, Annabeth took a deep breath and forged ahead. And I'm just like, she's like, I need my friends with me. And then she got with her friends and she goes, oh my God, I forgot y'all are stupid. Like,
she's like, I forgot that you were impossible to work with.
Just saying, questioning her decisions and being like, just the smart mouth he is, took a deep breath. Like, girl, I'm with you. I can't even imagine being a 14-year-old girl with 3 other boys in this stinky.
She needs a girl boss. She needs a girl boss to join her quest.
She needs a girl boss if she can handle it. And needs another girl on the quest. Poor girl. I feel bad for her.
I was also kind of wondering because, then I was thinking about my own subway experience. It's like, surely the labyrinth has to connect to like the New York City subway at some point. I don't know. I was wondering, like, how many people have wandered into the labyrinth from the New York City subway? Because it feels like it would be a number greater than 0.
If a milkman got lost down there, some other randos probably got lost down there too. Delivery people, like all sorts of people.
Absolutely.
It's a cool idea. It's also a terrifying idea. Like the labyrinth
Stresses me out.
Yeah. So they end up somehow back in the Roman mosaic room. And here we meet the literal god with 2 faces, and he wants Annabeth to make a choice. And the way he says it, here's the quote from the book. You're in charge now, my dear. All the decisions are on your shoulders. That's what you wanted, isn't it? We know you, Annabeth. We know what you wrestle with every day. We know your indecision. You'll have to make your own choice sooner or later, and the choice may kill you. Like, leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Very creepy. Very creepy.
Very creepy. So, any thoughts on what she's wrestling with? This choice she's gonna have to make?
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna involve Percy. I want her to have to try to save between someone else and Percy. I want some hard choices, like kind of like Percy had to do. And is it the first book where it's like between saving his friends and his mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want something like that. I want a good dilemma for the lovebirds.
Why do you hate Annabeth? Why do you want her to suffer?
I like adversity. I think it makes people stronger. Just kidding. I hate angst so much.
I love angst. I need a happy ending.
Real. And this book is like Annabeth's book. It's so much about her and like her turmoil and her angst. So get ready. I'm so excited. I don't even remember what Janice is talking about because of how long it's been since I read it. So rereading that, I was like, what choice? Oh my God. She's a little girl, leave her alone. Like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, I can like theorize again because I already forgot. So I think it definitely has to do with Percy. And I just don't know if it's Luke, if it's her family, if it's her mom. I don't know what the choice is, but I know Percy is as important to Annabeth as Annabeth is to Percy.
Absolutely.
In some capacity, he is involved.
He. I think I remember what the choice is, but also, who's to say? Also, I just think the way that Janice introduces himself is very cool. He's like, I'm your best friend. I'm your worst enemy. Like, okay, go off.
Queen.
But also, every time I I know it's spelled differently, but whenever I like say Janice in my head, all I think of is like, oh my God, Chandler Bing.
Oh my God.
So that's who he is to me. Janice from Friends.
Isn't Janice one of the characters in Rocky Horror?
That's Net.
Janet, yes.
Ah.
I was like, I had the Glee version stuck in my head, the song, and I was like, is that the same? No.
God, this
Okay.
podcast cannot escape Glee.
Sometimes you just have the cover stuck in your head. It was a cultural moment.
Yeah.
That should be the next podcast.
Yes, welcome to our Glee podcast.
Glee.
Unironically, I feel like I would have a great time just talking about Glee.
Rewatch like the worst episodes.
Grilled Jesus.
Oh my god.
Could pack that for at least an hour.
The one where Rachel's like obsessed with Mr. Shu.
God.
Could be so good.
The like gay representation that almost feels homophobic,
Yes. Oh god.
but also feels like the most accurate high school gay representation I've ever seen, you know? Like
For
it's
sure.
Glee exists in a very weird space.
It
Mhm.
was a time capsule of what TV was. It was definitely pushing the envelope, but also that was happening everywhere. And I'm currently rewatching Glee, so it's been a ride. But at the end of the day, we got Burt Hummel,
So true.
and I do believe Burt changed America. So I gotta support it.
So true. Bert Hummel. What a guy. All right, so Annabeth's choice. She does not end up having to make said choice because then Hera joins them and tells Janice that he knows it's not her time yet. He better leave or she'll turn him into a door and break it down. And so Hera like invites them to a little picnic and she gives them sandwiches and lemonade. And that's another thing that we can cross off Tyson's summer bucket list because he wanted to eat peanut butter sandwiches, ride fish ponies, fight monsters, see Annabeth, make things go boom. So now he's seen Annabeth, he's having sandwiches, and honestly, I feel like we can probably cross off fighting monsters because, like, the Scorpion tag game, there would have been fighting of scorpions, but, 3 out of 5, like, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Way to go, Tyson.
Love it. Love this for him, but also hate it for him.
Yeah. Like, he should... I'm looking for what's the, like, child Cyclops version of she should have been at the club, Like...
Should have been at the playground.
Yeah. He should have been at the playground. He should have been at the forges.
Yeah.
But actually, he shouldn't have been at the forges because that's his job.
Yeah, it's his summer off.
It's his summer break.
He should have been at camp.
Yeah.
They all should have been at camp.
Yeah.
No, because when Percy was looking at, like, as they're about to go into the labyrinth, he's, like, looking at the other campers, and he's like, they're just, like, about to have a normal day at camp and, like, go canoeing. I was so sad for him. I was like, he deserves to have a nice summer at camp.
Aw.
They like refuse to let him be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Free Percy. Let him rest.
Free Percy. I think he's working on it currently past this book. He's trying to find his happiness in the world. But I won't say too much on what's going on with modern Percy.
New Percy Jackson book in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, new Percy Jackson book. But right now we're in the labyrinth.
Right, sorry. Right now we're in the labyrinth. And Hera is here.
Hera's here, and she's cooking it up, and she's making sandwiches, and she's also being, as the adults in these books love to do, cryptic.
Yeah, because Annabeth kind of respectfully asks, why are you here? I didn't think you liked heroes. And, turns out that Hera has no problem with heroes as long as they are not children that were created by her husband. And, that's honestly fair. I'm with her there. And I appreciate the way that when Percy, like, brings up Thalia, Hera just, like, loses all her cheeriness, turns to him and is like, so I remember that I voted to let you live. I hope I didn't make a mistake. And then she just, like, turns back to Annabeth, like,
She ate.
she did.
She ate.
She got him there.
Also, in that, when she says that, she goes, and you're one of Poseidon's children. And Percy's like, I feel like she didn't want to call me a child. Like, I feel like she wanted to call me something else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be like, you're one of Poseidon's punk bastards, right? The drop-offs. Yeah, I remember. I recall ugly. Like, oh my god. But she was very demure. She was very mindful. She called him a child. And she said, I will kill you if you cross me. Do not sass me, little boy.
Hera would be into the demure mindful trend.
She would. Yeah, and she would believe that shit too. She would be like, that's me. That's me.
See how I'm not mad about my husband's affairs? Very demure, very mindful. See how we're working on our marriage? Very cutesy.
Very cute, very mindful.
Yeah, so then the Hera conversation boils down basically to Hera wanting to keep her family together, and the best way to do that is helping them with this quest. And, within this conversation, there's also the reminder that Kronos is Hera's dad, which I hate because Zeus did marry his sister, and that's always the reminder that I love to get.
As Percy says, the gods don't have DNA, so it doesn't really count.
Yes, but also it's weird.
I gotta disagree with Percy on that one. Gotta say.
Rick Riordan writing himself into a bit of a pickle, so he had to have Percy, the person we trust with our lives, explain it to us.
But when you have to explain why it's not technically incest, like, that's not great. It's not great.
It's like, technically, it's a phebophilia. It's like, bro, what are we doing?
Shouldn't be a technicality that saves it from being incest. It should be just not being incest. It's what I would prefer. I don't know about you guys.
Right. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you there. Yeah.
Not a huge fan.
On that lovely note, Hera says she'll grant a wish, but first she's going to give them some advice, and her advice is that they should go find Hephaestus to see if he knows anything about Daedalus, because he really liked Daedalus. And Annabeth is like, okay, my wish is I want to know how to navigate the labyrinth. And Hera says they already have this because Percy knows the answer. And really, Hera is giving Percy way too much credit here, because when has he ever been known to put the pieces together quickly? Like, he can get there, but it's gonna take him a minute. And I don't know, it would have made more sense to give all these pieces to Annabeth and, like, let her put them together. Though also, I don't know that Annabeth would have put the pieces together, because I don't think she'd be willing to accept the answer. Should I say that? I don't know. Anyway, Julie, any thoughts on the secret to navigating the labyrinth?
No, but now I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. Now I did not do a ton of prediction prep for this, so now I'm like rethinking things. I'm like, what does that mean?
I also didn't know, and she was like, Percy knows. I'm like, when has he known anything? And two, I also don't know. So me and Percy both don't know.
And see, if you two couldn't put it together in your adult brains, why are we thinking that Percy can put it together?
Fair. But I also feel like you just insulted me there.
No, because I can't really speak on, like, not putting the pieces together, because I was a child when I read this. I didn't put the pieces together until it is finally, like, worked out. But yeah, I don't know. Much like Percy, we have been presented with the pieces, and I don't think you're expected to put it together, but I don't know. I don't know.
I have theories, but I'm scared to say them out loud, because what if they're real?
What if they're right and you ruin the book for Julie?
I have speculative thoughts, but I'll keep them to myself. And hopefully Percy and Julie can figure it out together.
Man, I feel so roasted right now. Unbelievable. It happens when I actually do work during the workday and not spend most of the day reading this and writing my notes.
No, if you had put it together, I would have been so mad. I would have been like, Julie's Googling spoilers because half. But also I would have been impressed. Let's get off this topic now before I give too much away. So Hera leaves us with a final warning that Annabeth's choice has just been postponed instead of prevented entirely, and she disappears. And so everyone kind of looks to Percy for his answer that he supposedly knows, and he's like, when have I ever known anything? And suddenly Grover and Tyson announce that they need to go left because something big is coming from the right. So, yay! And these two chapters end so similarly. Like, chapter 5 ends with, together the four of us descended into darkness, and this one ends with, like, together we plunged into the dark corridor. Like, we're descending and plunging so many places. Parallels, I don't know. These are both, like, shorter chapters.
The thing about this book is that I think Annabeth has mentioned this, that her fatal flaw is her hubris.
Yes.
It's day 1, minute 5, and you're already starting to see the, like, seeds of that. When she's with Janus, and she's like, I know who you are, and she's, like, ready to go, I'm like, oh, don't. Like, I'm like, hold your tongue. And then even with Hera, queen of heaven, queen of Olympus, she's running her mouth. And I'm like, oh, Annabeth, no. And I know it's literally just me knowing that about her that I'm, like, already got my haunches up. But I know the deeper they get into this, the more Annabeth is going to be like, I am the daughter of Athena. I'm like, I know how to get through this. I can do this. I can do this. Let me prove myself. And I'm so worried for her. I'm scared. I'm scared for her.
Yeah, and the way that she doesn't seem to think very long about, like, she's just ready to make a choice, and then she's just like ready to ask Hera to like tell them how to navigate the maze. Like she just it feels like Percy's kind of impulsivity is rubbing off on her.
I mean, they both have ADHD. They're both impulsive.
That is true.
She has impulsive traits. Percy, the thing is, she just like has like a 5 second buffer before she like does it. She's like, I want to do it, but let me think. And then she does it. Percy has no buffer.
Percy just does it.
Yeah.
He's already running before he's even processed the situation at hand. So she just has her buffer. But I think being in this type of space and so outside of her comfort zone,
And feeling like she has to be the one in charge.
exactly, I think we're going to see more impulsivity. We're going to see her hubris, and we're going to see some of her other insecurities and maybe some of her other flaws through this book.
I love when a character is flawed. I love Annabeth. She's so important to me. What's that tweet that's like, you asked for more complex female characters, but you couldn't even handle Annabeth Chase? Yeah, exactly. I also saw some people arguing on Twitter about whether Annabeth is a bad person for her actions in this book, and I was like, she's 14. Everything is excusable when you're 14.
That's a child of flesh and blood. So back up. Oh my God. Me and Annabeth go way back. Don't. Oh my God. When people don't understand characters, I'm like, I need to be normal about this. I need to be normal, and I can be, and I'll scroll, and I'm normal, and I'm normal, and I'm scrolling, and then I'll see another take, and I'm like, actually, I have to go back. I have to go back because you guys are so wrong. You're so wrong. She's been rejected her whole life. Stop. Y'all don't know her.
It's very much that Ben Wyatt in Parks and Rec moment where he's like, I don't have time to tell you how wrong you are. Actually, no, I need to because it's gonna bug me if I don't. Like, that's me about Annabeth Chase.
That man raised me. Ben Wyatt raised me. Yeah. It's very important to me that people understand her, and they don't, and they won't. But it's okay. We can be strong. We can be the Annabeth Chase Defense Club.
If you don't want to like Annabeth, that's fine. More for me. Anyway, so Julie, you have chapter 7 and 8 predictions?
Yeah, vaguely.
Love it. Okay. So chapter 7 is Tyson leads a jailbreak.
I'm hoping this either means Tyson gets them out of the labyrinth because he's my king. I love him. Or I was thinking about this on my hot girl walk, so I might have been a little delusional. Oh my God, I had another thing about what that could mean, and I don't remember what it was.
Well, now I want to know what it was, but
It probably wasn't that good either.
okay, and then 8 is we visit the Demon Dude Ranch.
I don't really have a specific prediction for this, but I love the idea of a Demon Dude Ranch so much. It just sounds like a very fun time. Like, I love a good dude ranch. I don't know why. Like, I associate it with like this like Charlie's Angels episode that I watched when I was a kid, and they go to a dude ranch, but I'm like, that sounds like so much fun. And if Hades is running a Demon Dude Ranch, I'm there. You don't even have to ask. I'm there. I love Hades. He's my favorite.
Indeed.
Nobody tell me any problematic thing about Hades. I don't want to know. The god of hell, I don't want to know. He's perfect in my eyes.
Is it problematic to be the ruler of the underworld? Who's to say?
He's got to make money somehow.
At least he has a job. At least he's contributing to his community.
Exactly. Thank you.
I mean, someone's got to do it.
So true.
Yeah. All right. Well, any closing thoughts?
Thoughts and prayers for Annabeth Chase.
Let's light a candle for her at church. She's gonna need it.
Yeah.
Light a candle, call a hotline, keep her in your thoughts, send positive vibes her way.
She's going through it.
4 teenage boys and a prophecy weighing on her shoulders. Thoughts and prayers.
Pour one out.
Pour out
God.
Dr. Pepper.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, it was so lovely to have you here.
This is awesome.
I had so much fun.
That you'll have to come back sometime because appreciate your takes.
I love book 5. So if you need some guests for book 5.
Book 5 is so good.
Book 5 is so good.
Is book 5 your favorite?
Book 5 is, I think, my favorite one. And then maybe Titan's Curse right underneath.
Ooh, this one is my favorite.
The last 3 are such hitters. It's crazy.
They are. They're so good.
Book 5 is, it kind of gives me everything I need. So I get really excited when I get to talk about it.
We will definitely invite you back for book 5 if/when Julie gets there.
I can't believe you got me this far.
Me neither. I'm like, are we still playing that game? If you read the last
A
one?
little bit. You gotta read another book for me
Okay.
before I read the next one. Yeah.
I'll read another one. Just decide what you want me to read. We'll be back in 2 weeks with chapters 7 and 8. It was lovely to chat with you both.
I love this. I had so much fun. This was me being very demure. I was very mindful. I wouldn't spoil anything.
You were being so regular and so normal about all of it.
Well, yeah.
Till next time.
Yes. See you around. Hi, thanks for being here. As always, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and now Threads at @DemigodDebutPod. And if you liked what you heard, please drop us a review wherever it is that you're listening. See you in 2 weeks for more Battle of the Labyrinth, and also keep an eye out for some sort of Wrath of the Triple Goddess bonus episode from me in the meantime. Date TBD on that, depending on how fast I can read the book. See you next time. Bye!